Hi guys! So today, in honor of the White Lotus finale airing very soon, we are going to be building our own White Lotus resort in The Sims 4. So for this build, because it is so big, it's a true speed build, and I'm just going to be kind of describing as we go along, and then we'll do a tour rather than building it together. Sorry. Sorry to leave you out of that part. So starting off with the lot, I know I have Tomarong, which is based on Thailand or kind of based off of Thailand, but I'm building in Sulani because I could not find a lot big enough and that had like a jungly feel in Tomarong. So the lots were either really tiny or really urban, and it just was not working. I actually started a build there and I was just like, I can't do it. It does not look right. It's not big enough. And then this lot, still not really big enough, but it's the biggest one that had a jungly feel. So this season of the White Lotus is taking place in Thailand, but it's not like a beachfront. Like the highlight of the resort is not the beach. So we're building up in the hills of Sulani. So the ocean is there. We have these great views this way. The lots that were on the water just didn't feel right either. If you're not familiar with The White Lotus, or even if you are, just a reminder that the show is HBO. I'm not going to be going into details of things that happen. This channel is PG, okay? So I'm not going to be discussing like the gritty details of what's happening in the show, but I may discuss the show a little bit. So if you haven't seen it, there might be some spoilers. Again, I'm not going to be talking about like major plot points, but each season starts with someone either finding a body, or in one of the seasons they're like loading a casket onto the plane at the beginning of the show, and then they go like, okay, back to the beginning of the week, here's how it happened. So we don't know who the body is, we don't know how it happened, and we don't know what's going on at all. So throughout the show, they do a really good job of kind of making you feel like each person could be the person that dies in the end. And this season, I have no idea what's going to happen, but the finale has not aired yet. I'm very excited to watch it. I feel like this has been a pretty good season. I'm building this between the second to last episode and the last episode. So for this build, it is not an exact replica of the resort. I looked up a lot of pictures and I just couldn't get a good feel of how it was laid out, because of course it's also a set, so we don't really know. But it seems like the rooms are very isolated, really far apart, like long walkways and stairs, and I just don't have the space for that. So it's a little more condensed, and I just wanted to make sure I had rooms for each character in the show. So we have the three ladies, Jacqueline, Lori, I forget the other one, honestly. But we have the three ladies that are each in like a separate room, but they're kind of connected. So I've built those out front. So we have the Ratliff family. They have a 3-bedroom kind of suite. Then we have Belinda has a little kind of a smaller place. Then we have Chelsea and Rick, who seem to have like a really fancy room, but it doesn't seem like theirs is a suite so much. So theirs seems more like a traditional hotel room, but it is also like really big and fancy, of course. And then let's see, we have the Ratliffs, the three ladies, Rick and Chelsea and Belinda. And that's it for the rooms that we're going to do here, because we don't have room to do a bunch of random rooms where we don't even know the people staying in them. So some key features I wanted to include: Gaitak's gatehouse. We have the rooms for each main character. We're going to have a restaurant, a pool. Then I also made the like boardwalk that the show opens with, where Belinda's son is like meditating with the woman from the resort, and then that's when stuff goes down, and then it cuts to like the beginning of the week. So I did make a little meditation area on the boardwalk. Then I also wanted to include the shop, because we have a significant moment there at the beginning of the show, or like the second episode, I think. Then also a spa, because this is very much like a wellness resort. We gotta include the spa. We have our main building is gonna have the lobby, the shop, the spa, the restaurant, a bar, and a pool. And then what I've done is I've also created 2 hotel rooms at the top of the main area. So that's where Chelsea and Rick are going to be. So I'm using a lot of, obviously, For Rent, because that has the Thai feel. Then we're also using quite a bit of Jungle Adventure and Spa Day and Island Living. Did a lot of like curved roofs to get that kind of look, and I used a lot of those roof pieces that I don't know what you call them. The roof pieces that come with for rent. There are like 4 of them on the main building, and then I put a few of the little decorative features that also come in that pack on the roofs too. So I feel like getting all of this to fit on one lot was like honestly the most difficult part, just trying to get the layout. Once I got the layout, decorating was easy and fun. For the Ratliff's place, I just didn't have that much room for bedrooms and everyone to have their own like ensuite bathroom. So there's one main bathroom downstairs, and then we're gonna have 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bathrooms only because I just wasn't able to fit them all. We're gonna have the kitchen for sure. Saxon is like obsessed with his protein smoothies. He's always making smoothies. The leading theory out there, this is not a spoiler, this is just like fan theories, which makes sense. Everyone thinks that there's gonna be a poison smoothie because at the beginning of the show they mention these poisonous fruits that are all over the resort, and then they have not been mentioned again since. So they would not have mentioned that if something's not going to happen there, right? But he is like always making a smoothie in the background. But I don't have a blender. I don't have any packs or kits that come with a blender. So I went with an appliance that I thought could maybe look like a blender. And the one that came the closest, I thought the tea maker kind of looked like a food processor. And then I just added some accessories around that could be used to like cut up fruit. I used one of those like mysterious fruits that are in Debug. And then I put the knife out because in this season we don't have anything with a knife yet. In the first season, there is a significant knife event. There's an aura of impending doom for all of these characters. So I've included something spooky in each room. In each suite. So I used the death glyph on the wall there, just something to, remind us that someone might not make it out of the White Lotus. This room, I intended for this to be Piper's room, just a small, normal bedroom. We have a very pretty bathroom though. I'm very happy with the tiles in there and the gold accents. I just think that bathroom turned out so pretty. The boys share a bedroom. I didn't have room for 2 queen beds, so I used the bunk beds and gave them their suitcases here. But you know what? They don't deserve big beds in this show. They've lost their big bed privileges. They're getting bunk beds. They can deal with it. So then I have the parents' room. I didn't have room for an ensuite bathroom, so I feel kind of bad that they don't have a bathroom. They're the ones paying for this trip. But, oh well, they can use the one downstairs. And then we have Belinda's suite because she's staying there for like a few months for a training program. Or, is she? I don't know. But she is supposed to be staying there long term. So I've given her like a nice big closet with some clothes hung up in there. And I did also use a couple of these for rent items that have flowers on them that kind of look like lotuses. We do have that lotus statue from Jungle Adventure, so I've put that in there. I did add a desk with a computer because we do have a scene where she's researching someone. So I also put one of the death relics from Jungle Adventure in there. Needed something sinister in her room. And then I also added a picture of the death flower in her bathroom. I don't know, death is following her around a bit. I don't want to give spoilers, but if you're watching the show, you know, and if you're not watching the show, you don't care. Okay, it's not really a spoiler because I don't know. But I feel like she's not going to make it. And I think that the person who is responsible for her not making it is going to be dealt with in the next season. That's my prediction. So, doing the 3 ladies' room, Jacqueline, Laura, and Kate, their rooms are very similar, so not a lot of difference in the decoration, and same with their bathrooms, I made them all the same. One thing I wanted to include in their rooms was just the ability for them to kind of see into each other's rooms. So we have a moment in the show where each woman is like seeing the other 2 talking about her. Their rooms are for the most part the same, and then I just included like a little finishing touch that's something related to the show. So We have the moon chart in the one room, which is because we have the full moon party, which is a significant episode. Then we have moon petal nectar in one of the rooms. Then I put the death medal, which is like a medal you can collect in the game, and a skull in the one room. We have White Lotus candles, just a few little nods to the show. So then going back to the lobby, I've used a lot of these White Lotus lights, which are just perfect lotus flower lights. And then that big picture from For Rent that has the flower in the middle. I don't think that's a lotus, but it works. Any big white flower is gonna work for this build. So over here, I'm doing the shop. I don't really have any jewelry in any of my packs, so I think with Crystal Creations, I could have had a lot of jewelry in here, but you know what? I don't have it. So what I did instead is I put a lot of these gold frogs in here because those are 10,000 simoleons around there. And then a couple of the gold plates, and I came across the urns, and I thought, well, what a great thing to sell at a resort where someone's always dying. So if your loved one doesn't make it out of the White Lotus, at least you can buy them a nice urn in the shop before you leave. So I did put a few of the like crystal items on this display rack, and then the jewelry box. So there is some jewelry there, even though that's, I don't know, maybe not how you typically present it. Then I put some perfume there too on that display. Going to the spa, here's the check-in area. We've got a nice computer, some candles, some plants on the walls, and then we have a little like yoga / meditation room. So our bathroom is pretty simple. I did find this poison glyph, so we put that on the wall. I don't know if anyone's gonna get poisoned, but I kind of assume that makes sense. That makes sense, that fan theory that we're gonna have someone get poisoned with the fruit. So going upstairs, we are gonna have the restaurant. So I'm doing the bathrooms over here. I'm going for more of like a royal feel than like an islandy or a spa feel, which is what I've kind of done with the rest of the place. I decided to put the squat toilets in here. We do have a Western toilet in there as well. But yeah, I just went with a lot of like gold, regal looking items. And then we have a stairway going up, and moved the bathrooms over here because I realized I did not have enough room for a kitchen. Then we have the restaurant kitchen over on the back wall by the pool. So in the kitchen, I used a lot of the base game. They're like very sleek metal counters, the Jungle Adventure stoves. And then I used a couple of these base game fridges that are just gray, so they matched our aesthetic in here. I did put a fire alarm in the kitchen, which I almost never do. We have a coffee maker. I did put a trash can in here, one of 3 on this in this whole hotel. I used these shelves from For Rent that already have quite a bit of decoration on them. Just added some plates and mugs. And then moving over to the actual restaurant, we've got like a total of 5 tables in here. But you know what? We only have 4 or 5 bedrooms, so perfect. So I added that like curtain feature the whole way around so it can look like the curtains can slide even though they don't. But I wanted it to look like you could close this off even though it's very open. And then I went back in the kitchen and just added like a couple of wards there. You know, we have the one couple who comes and eats there because they live nearby, so it must be a good restaurant, right? So we have that, and then like a couple, like a chalkboard, corkboard for little messages. Moving up to the next level, we have the pool. So I wanted to do a little bit of a roof over the pool rather than like umbrellas. So what I did is I added like 2 roofs and then like a smaller one kind of going over the seating area. Wanted to have it in a way where people could get sun if they wanted to. I'm not a sunbather. I can't. I'm very pale. I burn. I don't like it. There's just, I don't get it. So I would want shade if I were here. So I've included shade for those of us who don't want to sit out in the sun. I really liked the way this like double roof kind of going over the pool turned out. And then we're going to add some lounge chairs and just some little tables to put your drinks on. I added the spandrels that come with For Rent. I love that. They have that little like stained glass feature in them. I used those in the lobby too, so I used those quite a bit, but they're just so cute. They look so nice. And adding the bar area in the back, so we have this very fancy bar and bar back from For Rent. So that is just amazing. There's stuff on every shelf. You don't have to decorate any shelves. It's perfect. We're going to add a few bar tables, bar stools. We also have, towards the end of the show, the hotel manager wants to sing. I don't really know why that's significant. So far, he hasn't played much of a role. I don't know, but we'll put a little area for like keyboard, karaoke. And then again, I'm using those same curtains a lot because they have lotus flowers on them. Then I remembered that in The Sims, we can die from eating pufferfish. So I thought, what a great way to add something sinister to the restaurant, because I didn't. So I added a pufferfish, like a raw pufferfish on the counter, a pufferfish mounted on the wall too, so it can be like some foreshadowing if someone were to eat pufferfish that was prepared poorly. So going up to the next level, we have Rick and Chelsea's room. We have one extra room that's not for any specific characters in this whole resort. So we have technically the three ladies have 3 rooms. It's just that they're like one group. So in here, I continued kind of that more regal feel. The only thing I remember about Rick and Chelsea's room is that they have like a huge, like their bed is like a huge moment. There's like a big picture above it. It's very grand. I think it's on a platform, but all I could really fit in here was the platform. So we have their beds on platforms. We have a nice, beautiful, regal bathroom, lots of gold. I really liked this gallery wall. This is from the Decor to the Max kit. I don't ever use that swatch, but it's very pretty. I think it matches our decor a bit. And then I added the mini cow plant for our little sinister feature. And then over here, I added the skull from Vampires, I think. And then I added another pufferfish and the Katrina doll, which is like a Day of the Dead decoration. And then we added the gallery wall from the Secret Sanctuary kit. So again, just some like mysterious features. And then last but not least, we have the gatehouse. Some key features here. I wanted this to have the like security camera or like a way to watch the security footage. So we have like an old TV in here. And then I wanted the windows to be open because people need to be able to grab things that might be sitting on the tables in here. Then I wanted to make it special for Guy Talk. So I added a little meditation stool under the table, like he's hiding it from his colleagues. Like he just wants to be a Buddhist and meditate. So he has to hide his meditation stool. So that's it, finished. Let's do a tour. So starting at the gatehouse, going in, this big gate feature is from For Rent. Here we have like you come in, you have the gatehouse over here. And oh yeah, I added a little like camo backpack down there too. And then we have the bikes over to the side for the staff. And then we have our little meditation boardwalk. So here, I just wanted this to have so many plants around it because in the beginning we have the people meditating, then we hear gunshots. So I wanted enough plants around this that you wouldn't be able to see what's going on somewhere else, basically. Oh, and also we have this fence that has like a lotus on it, and that is from For Rent, but it's in debug. So I used a bit of that around the edge of the property. So going up these steps, which by the way, yes, they are functional, even though they don't look like it. I made sure that a sim could at least get to all these rooms. So here we have the 3 ladies' rooms, and we have our first room with the skull and the death metal in it. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I would love these rooms too. I want all these rooms, honestly. I want to stay here. Maybe I don't. That's how they get you. They draw you in with the pretty setting. And then we have our very pretty bathroom. They're all pretty much the same. So then in the second room, we have the moon chart on the wall. We have the White Lotus candle here. And then in the last room, which again, these steps, they took a little moving around, but they are functional in the end. In here, we have the moon petal wine. And then I used that wooden decoration again with the flower, just because I feel like it's just so good for this build, because it looks like a White Lotus. So I think that's the third wooden flower decoration in the build. I also used these lanterns all over. So going in. This is the path you would take to the main building. Going into our lobby, we've got our White Lotus decoration on the floor. Another one of those big wooden decorations. I've used those spandrels again. So here's our lobby, and then we've got just a little sitting area with some of the artwork from the refined living room kit. Over here we have our shop that really is only good if you want to buy an urn or a gold frog. Nice urn for your vacation. And then we have the necklace over here, some clothing, and I put a little gift box on the counter, gave them a tablet since we don't have cash registers. And then I put, this is just like the only jewelry I had, I put one tiny little ring there. That's our jewelry. So over to the spa. Here's our check-in area. We've got a couple chairs there for waiting, and then we have our drink tray, our little fridge with face masks, and some like oils and lotions, towels. In here we've got our nice little bathroom with our very lovely poison glyph, and then we have 2 massage table rooms and this yoga meditation room, and there's our other massage table. I just put lots of plants around them. I didn't do curtains because the rooms were way too small to make them even harder to get around the tables. So here we have our restaurant. We have our very fancy, oh, look at that view. Oh my gosh. We have our very fancy regal bathrooms. They are basically the same except for the wallpaper color, but I love our fancy gilded toilet with the swan, and then our peacock sink. I feel like this build really warranted a few of those. Those look so good in here. And I use those same doors throughout a lot, which have the like star around the handle, and those are actually from Get Famous, but they match the vibe in here really well. So we have our squat toilets for those who would like to use them. And then I wanted to see what this view looked like in the evening, and it is beautiful. So here it is in the evening. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. That's why I moved the restaurant, because I felt like we needed a scenic place for it. I want to eat here. I just don't order the pufferfish. So here's our kitchen. We've used the new base game tile wall here. We have our raw pufferfish on the counter, and then we've got our just like a calendar on the walls, chalkboard, a couple awards, and then we've got our little pufferfish plaque outside the room. Like, oh look, we catch pufferfish. We like to show it off. So over here, there's a bit of the exterior trim that I cannot get rid of without getting rid of trim on the outside. I don't know why it thinks it's part of the room on the outside. I just could not get rid of it, so just ignore that. And look how pretty it is at night. I just had to check this view in all times of day because it's so beautiful. So there we have it. There's the restaurant. Now, going up, we have the pool and the bar. So we go up the steps, we come out into the bar, we have our keyboard, karaoke area, and then look how pretty this bar back is. But then I realized, like, what are those? Are those supposed to be like octopus, or are those like taro root or like ginger? I don't know what's in those jars, but I do really like this shelf. I wish we had that tiger statue and those bottles and stuff like separate from that. Wouldn't that be so cute? We need more animal decor, I think, but I am partial to animal decor. In this lounge area, I also used the rug that has the moon phases on it as well. Just another little reference to the full moon party. So here we have Rick and Chelsea's room. We've got our little cow plant and our creepy castle picture or mountains. I don't know what that is. Then we have this gallery wall, which is not sinister. It's just really pretty. I really wanted to put a snake in here. Some kind of snake, because there's a significant snake event for them, but I could not find anything snake related in The Sims. I don't know if I don't have the packs. I even looked it up. I was trying to find anything, but without custom content, which I've never used. I don't know how to use it. But without custom content, you really can't have a snake, it feels like. Let me know if there are any packs or kits that have anything, but I couldn't find anything. So in this second bedroom, it's a little darker, but the bed, I love the bed, the coloring in there. So I used this gallery wall, which has Bella Goth and then like the spaceship, just a little creepy. And then I've given them the pufferfish. I've actually loaded this room with like creepy stuff, which I should have spread it out a little more maybe. But they have the skull in here, the bird skull. We have the pufferfish, and then we also have the Katrina doll. Oh well, these are the random people, so they're gonna make it because we never have strangers not make it out of the White Lotus. And then we have our matching fancy bathroom. This room is very similar to the other, to Chelsea and Rick's room. It's just like slightly different colors, like same items, different colors. Okay, then that's it for the main building. Going over to Belinda's room, we've got 2 beds because her son does come to stay with her. And then we have the White Lotus statue. We've got the lotuses on the rug. And then we have that picture, which is from For Rent. I always end up sizing that up, that like floral, not a picture, I guess, the like floral wood carving thing back there. It's too small otherwise. But we have her closet here with the suitcase in it. And then the death relic and her computer. In the bathroom, we have the picture of the death flower. So maybe I didn't spread out the death omens very well. Yeah, I didn't really give the Ratliffs many, but then Belinda and the spare room have several. I tried. And then we've got her little pool and chairs. So then going over to the Ratliff residence, we have a big torch out here, some plants, and then we have the big death glyph in their dining room. We have these fruits here, which he's chopping up. Someone's gonna get poisoned with a smoothie. We all know it. Well, I'll be shocked if that's not what happens, honestly, at this point. And I'm surprised I only used one of those elephant things. Probably should have used more of those. I also used these chests of drawers. So there's an important chest of drawers, which has like a bunch of little drawers in it, in the show, in their room or in their suite. So these are 2 long ones stacked on top of each other on top of a table to give that look. So it's like a coffee table more. And then I just added, this hallway's very tiny, but I added a nice picture in the hallway and then a little gallery wall on this side. Look at the view from Piper's room. This is insane. Oh, beautiful. And then this pretty bird picture. I really hope nothing happens to Piper because she does not deserve it, at least not that we know of so far. Sometimes the person who doesn't deserve it does end up not making it. Although not really. I don't know. But yeah, I hope she makes it. Also, look at their view. Amazing. We've got the elephant picture on the wall and then another nice little bathroom with lots of pretty tiles. The For Rent bathroom stuff is beautiful. And then in here we have the parents' bedroom, although it's pretty small and not very practical. Sorry, guys. No ensuite bathroom. No big window with a great view. Oh well, they have the whole downstairs. They've got the bathroom downstairs. They'll be fine. I added so much landscaping to this build, more than I've ever done. So many plants, debug, jungle adventure, island living, For Rent, and then these palm trees everywhere. I really wanted this to look like it's in like the jungly mountains of Thailand. Even though it's in Sulani, just go with it. So there it is, all done. Oh my gosh, this was such a big build, but it was really fun to do. I've never done a resort before. I just think this turned out amazing. I love it. I did bring a sim in at the end to test things. The boys' bunk beds are not functional. So I took everything out of the room except the bunk beds. I tried moving the bed to like a different angle. I could not get the bottom bunk to be functional. I don't know why. It just wasn't worth like taking out the windows and stuff outside. I just felt like there's so many bedrooms in this build. If you wanted to use this build, there's plenty of beds, or you can just take those out and do like a single bed in there. And then I just added lots of plants in the front to just like cover up the boundary kind of. Look at it all lit up and all these plants hanging off the big building. I love those. Those jungle adventure plants came in so handy for this. I think that if you have to go to a resort that's very dangerous and has a high death rate, this would be the one. Look how pretty it is. Let me know in the comments which room you would most want to stay in. And if you have any thoughts on the White Lotus, you're welcome to share. It's definitely not for everyone. I will not sit here and say everyone needs to watch this show. It's a bit odd, disturbing at times, but it's just like so interesting, you know? It's like when there is weird stuff going on, they're not condoning it. They're not like, look, this is great. It's always like, look at these crazy, horrible rich people. So I think it's a very interesting show. I really like this season. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. It is in the gallery under the White Lotus. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!